Welcome to the President and CEO Focus on the Middle Market podcast series, where President and CEO founder Paul Stukel discusses middle market issues with business leaders from across the nation. Today, Paul speaks with David Seliktar, CEO of online retailer KeepAmerica.com, about his company's crusade to revive U.S. manufacturing.
Tell us about Keep America.
Sure. Well, I'll give you a little history about how it began. I've been in the jewelry business. It's a family-owned business since before college, and then I went into it after college as well. And we, up until this day, the business has been around for over 30 years. My parents started it. My brother, who's 10 years older than I am, then began running it as well, and then I joined the team too. So we've been manufacturing in the U.S. for 30 years. Till today, we still manufacture in New York. And, it's always been in my blood. And back in 2011, things were really getting out of control economically here. I really, truly felt the only way to turn this thing around is by having Americans be able to find American-made products, which you find a little more in stores these days, but, there were literally almost none in stores, 3 years back. So I decided to create a platform where all Americans can really go to one source and find products made in the USA. That was coupled, obviously the outsourcing of jobs was just making me crazy, and seeing the unemployment rate going through the roof is a disaster for all of us. But, another big inspiration was hearing all the recalls from China with the lead paint in children's toys, and I have now 4 daughters. At the time I had my third daughter was born, and I actually came home one day, true story, I come home and I see them playing in the bathtub after work, and I see literally paint chips floating around in the bathtub. And I grab a couple of the toys, and obviously they're all made in China at the time. Now I strictly buy Little Tykes and other companies, smaller toy manufacturers that produce here, where I know they're high quality, safe products that I don't have to worry about my infant at home putting in her mouth, and God knows what's in there and what chemicals are in the product. So the concern for safety of my children and the concern for jobs being shipped overseas is really what inspired me to get this thing started. And I'm really glad that I did, because and I can't take full credit because I have an amazing team here that has helped grow this thing. We really put blood, sweat, and tears into growing this. It was not easy in the beginning, but I'm happy to say that in the very beginning, it was very tough finding American-made products. We literally went to conventions all over the country, trying to find products and just reaching out, online, doing research, everything we could to find American-made goods. And I'm thrilled and proud to say that now on a daily basis we have new vendors applying to be suppliers on our site.
Oh, that's great. So so it sounds like you've gotten over the hurdle of, if there is such a thing, of identifying, entirely U.S. made products, right? So it sounds like that's something you overcome.
Sure. Yeah. Look, the first year was very challenging, just finding the vendors. Then we've kind of moved past that, like I said, with them approaching us. And as far as verifying it, we definitely do our research and due diligence, looking at the key components, making sure that these products are actually made here, and that the materials are actually available here. And what we do is we comply with the Made in USA standard provided by the U.S. government, by the Federal Trade Commission, and we make sure our vendors follow that. They sign a contract confirming the products are made here. And look, if someone's going to commit fraud and change tags and do something illegal, there's nothing anybody could do about that. But
right.
We do hold them to a legal contract, and I'm happy we have never caught anybody doing anything illegal. As far as what I just mentioned, you could be sure that if we ever did, they'd be off the site immediately, and I'd even consider legal action, because that really puts the entire legitimacy of our site in jeopardy. And
sure.
We take that very seriously, because we want everyone to feel comfortable going to our site. These products are actually made here in America.
Well, it's really remarkable, going through your site, that, and this is going to sound terrible given all the news that we always get, but I'm astonished that there are so many products that are like clothing and some of the accessories that you've got. Because you've got a pretty wide range of stuff here. I'm really quite astonished that there are still folks in the U.S. that make textiles. Yeah. I was really astonished at how much product you've got, and it sounds like you're building pretty rapidly. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, we have 12 categories across the board, everything from apparel to furniture to jewelry, children's products, accessories. We have over 300 vendors nationwide, coast to coast, and literally almost every single state, and over 7,000 products. So there really is a wide array of products available out there, and it is a misconception. Look, obviously textiles in the U.S., the industry isn't what it was 30 years ago, but it is a misconception that nothing is made here anymore. There are plenty of small businesses that still produce here with low overhead, so they're able to compete with outsourced pricing. We drive a lot of traffic to our site, and we've been very fortunate to have media coverage nationally from both left-wing media and right-wing media. I mean, the beauty of what we're doing is whether you lean left or lean right politically and socially, this is something everyone can agree on, that supporting American manufacturers will help our economy. So,
right.
Bringing traffic to our site through the help of the media and people like yourself, and we really appreciate it because it helps get the word out there. We're able to offer certain deals because we get high volume orders for these manufacturers, and it makes their month, it makes their year. They can compete with the outsourced pricing, and it's really a win-win for everyone, for them, for us, for the American consumer, and for the American economy.
That's great. I mean, do you find that there's a quality improvement here in the U.S.? And I know that's a really generalized question, but some of the issues that we have dealt with in our own business, there's that sort of roll the dice kind of issue with China, with the manufacturers, either in terms of the quality of the product or in terms of the timing. When Chinese New Year's rolls around, all schedules just go right out the window, right?
Oh, everything's shut down completely, sure, yeah.
But even then, even when they say, okay, we're going to get this out before Chinese New Year, and they don't, you're sitting there sucking wind. I mean, because you don't have the product to sell.
Well, let me give you a great example, if I may. Just a first-hand experience, from the jewelry industry. We're one of the very few large manufacturers that still make jewelry here in the U.S. I speak to people who import everything from overseas, whether it be South America, whether it be China. A huge advantage. Now, sure, the labor costs overseas are cheaper, but there is no substitute for being able, when you mention quality, for being able to literally walk downstairs to the factory while it's in production and you catch a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Doesn't matter where you're manufacturing. Mistakes will be made because humans are involved, and we all make mistakes. But when you can walk down when production just starts and catch a mistake and correct it instantly and spot check several times a day, if you order from China and you have 2-month lead time and it gets there and there's a mistake, you're in deep trouble. And furthermore, and this is priceless, we've had times where, let's say, department stores order for Black Friday and you ship, and a certain style sells above projections, which is every company's dream. You get a call from the retailer saying, listen, great news, it's sold over projections, we'd love to reorder so we can have it in time for Christmas. If you're manufacturing overseas, there's no chance you're doing that. If they know they can rely on you to turn it around in 2 weeks and get it there before Christmas because you're making it in the United States, you're the guy they're going to call. And that's priceless. So, yeah, you can pay, child labor costs and, pay just pennies on the dollar for overseas, inferior products that aren't going to last as long and who knows what kind of safety issues. But there is no price you could put on the fact that you can spot check quality and implement a reorder literally instantly. And the fact that your customers know you can come through like that really helps build relationships and helps grow your business.
I'm sure you saw recently that I believe it was the World Bank came out with a report saying that by their methodology, China was going to surpass the U.S. As the most powerful economy this month or this year. And I look upon that as being somewhat dubious. I mean, they really took the only sort of tortured metric they could get to that point. I mean, considering our GDP is almost twice the size of China, I have a hard time buying that. But having said that, I mean, China's obviously, they're still growing rapidly, even though they're having a bit of a slowdown right now. What do you think is driving that? I mean, there's the obvious things in terms of, low wages and such. But are there other elements with respect to China's surge that you identify relative to the U.S.?
Well, for sure. And you know what? Even if they don't pass it this year, the overall perception around the world, in Europe and Asia, they already see China as the economic superpower that we once were, which is terrible for us as Americans overall. But in regards to your question, as far as how they've accomplished this, I mean, to be honest, we're really not competing on a level playing field. I don't know if you recall, I think it was at the end of last year, where a Chinese worker actually put a letter into some Halloween decorations that was found by an American here in the U.S. And he described conditions at a Chinese labor camp where they worked 15-hour work days, 7 days a week. I mean, the conditions we all know in the majority of these factories are terrible. They use child labor. Forget about any kind of environmental regulations. You know, the comparison of what they make, you know, there to here, you're talking about a few dollars a week or a few dollars a month, even in some of the worst circumstances. So, I mean, when you're competing with that and the way they manipulate their currency, I mean, it's just to compare, it's apples to oranges. Look, this didn't happen overnight. This took years and years, and to be quite honest, to fix this won't happen overnight either. What we have to do as Americans is right now rebuild our infrastructure. We have to worry about our youth that are in college that are coming out with insane debt from student loans. You know, what boggles my mind, and this kind of all ties together with the future of really taking this back and getting back on top, is the fact that student loan interest is nearly twice that of a mortgage rate. I mean, I have employees who are here right out of college, and they come out of college and they tell me they pay over 7% interest rates, and that's literally about double my mortgage rate. How do you expect students to get into the workplace, entry level positions, whatever salary they're getting? It's going to take them years and years and years to even come close to paying off student loans before they can even consider getting married, starting a family, getting a home. I mean, it's really something we have to. Buying American is one direct method for having a direct impact in getting our economy back in the right direction. But it has to go hand in hand with our government doing something as well to help the next generation really have a fair playing ground.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. The student debt thing is actually one of those hidden things that no one really pays attention to unless you've got student debt. And you said it beautifully. I mean, the economic impact of having that debt overhang the minute you get out of school, it delays so many things that could not only help them in their life, getting married's a good thing, getting a mortgage, starting to build, a life.
Right. Yeah.
It all has to be on hold because everyone's broke because they're paying back their debt, even if they can get a good job. So, no, I hear you. I think that's an interesting observation.
Be sure to check back for future episodes of the President and CEO Focus on the Middle Market podcast series. Thanks for listening.